Luke here. I want to go through some of the things that I see that keep people poor and frustrated that they don't have more money. Now, the first one is paying too much tax. What? That is blasphemy in New Zealand. You can't say that. Now, remember that tax rules are set up so that it's legal to minimize your tax. I think that's why we're seeing more people move from employment to contractor or having a side hustle, finding ways to be able to claim expenses. Now, when you're an employee, there's very few expenses that you can claim, but when you are in business, there are more things that you can claim, including if you have a side hustle. Now, it doesn't mean that you can just claim all of your expenses and then offset your income and therefore pay less tax, but you find little pieces of your life that you would be paying for anyway that are more likely to become a tax deductible expense. So as an example, this microphone, for instance, here would be a tax deductible expense for me because I'm using it to create content and generate income. There's a nexus, a relationship between those things. Now, someone would argue, oh yeah, but you still had to spend the money, you didn't even actually need it. Yeah, I get that, but there are things that you will be spending money on that potentially can become tax deductible, like home office expenses, maybe even a portion of your power, your internet, based on the area of your business, of your home that you're using as your business. Maybe part of your phone bill, maybe even your phone, etc. So we could cover off a whole lesson on that as an entire video, but I won't go into real complex detail of these things, but you don't understand the tax rules is basically the first point. So you've got to try and figure out how you can get the tax rules working for you. In a business, you can go for beer with somebody and claim it as an entertainment expense. It decreases your GST bill and decreases your profit and therefore the tax you're paying if there's a business relationship there or a reason that you're having that. So once you understand these things better, you see that people are trying to use the tax rules to their advantage, and that's what they are there for. They're there to incentivize behavior. We want more business owners. We want more people, operating in business and generating economic activity and GDP and paying more tax. So eventually you end up with tax to pay the more profitable you become, but you want to understand tax rules better, and maybe I could do a whole video on that at some stage. Now, the second one, even if you think about it, everybody loves rental properties because they can get a tax-free capital gain, but they can have the rent minus the expenses. The interest is tax deductible. They operate at a loss. There's no tax to pay on that because they're not actually making any money, and they make their money when they sell the property in the future at a capital gain and don't have to pay tax on that. So people understand this shit. I'm just saying there are other ways to do it rather than just rental properties. Number two, you get comfortable with bad debt. So like me, you end up with the Q card, the gem visas, the fucking whatever in this day and age, and you just run rampant on that shit, and you get everything early, instant gratification. You don't teach yourself about saving and valuing money, and therefore waiting to buy something once you've done the hard work, and you get caught in this trap of basically using other people's money to buy products that you don't actually need, that have high levels of margin in it to help other people get rich, and then you wonder why you're poor. Because basically you're selling your future self to those people. So they sit here, they sell products, they know you can't afford it, they then put finance arms in place. You come along and go, wow, you guys are so nice to me. And they go, yeah, of course. And so basically what you do is you get the products from these people, you get the finance from these people, they're happy, they're both getting rich, and basically you're getting stupid shit that has good margin in it, and then you're saying to your current self, hey, you in the future need to pay it back. So you basically work for those people. You're effectively a debt slave, but we don't like to use that word, but there's a form of slavery happening in there, and you think it's completely normal. And that was you, Luke, i.e. me, once upon a time. And eventually you have to try and get yourself out of that slavery, but it's very hard because it's normalized, and it's very like, well, everyone's doing it, and 940,000 people have got buy now, pay later, 2 million credit cards, etc. Fucking good luck. Good luck clocking that. There's a chapter there in itself if you can get out of that. But most people won't. They'll stay there, and then they will wonder they'll stay here. They'll wonder how these people are rich. Why do all the finance companies have the cash, the banks? Why are these big corporates making shit tons of money and whatnot? It's simple when you actually look at it and realize, oh, okay, because all I do is I work to give them my money. So thirdly, you probably don't value your money enough because you don't have big enough goals and you don't know what you actually want to use it for. So then you allow these two people to come and take your money from you, and you say, I'll go to work on Monday to pay you back over the next month, over the next 12 months, over the next 18 months, and round and round and round, and you don't get out of that because you don't think, hang on, what do I actually want in my life? Where do I want to live? Who do I want to be with? What do I want my life to look like? Why is money important to me? What would it be like if I had an emergency fund? What would it be like if I made 3 times more than I ever have in my life? What would I do with that money? What would I need to start learning about? You ask yourself those questions, it's different to what should I buy with next week's income. Completely different. On that, no emergency buffer, so you can't even put an emergency fund aside, or a decent one, because you're playing this game. You're just giving your future income to these people, and you can't not spend it. I've got to spend it. I've got to get some feeling from that hard work. And so you get stuck there. So then you don't have an emergency fund. So then what happens? You come along and then there's more marketing. Someone else over here, oh, hey, your pet might get injured. You better get pet insurance because you don't have an emergency buffer to pay for the injury that you never saw coming for that pet. Good idea. I'll start paying you. Epic. What margin are they making? I don't know what the margin on pet insurance and shit is, but we do the same thing there. And so then we add in more cost into our life. Then, another one, we're so like, I need to feel good because I don't like what I'm doing. So then I drink, I get Netflix times by 3, and you add more cost into your life to try and escape what it is that you don't actually like doing, instead of going, how long am I going to do what I don't like doing for? Now, only 21% of people internationally are engaged in their work. So 79% of people go to work on a Monday and aren't actually that engaged with what they're doing. Now, we kid ourselves that, well, I can't because I'm financially trapped. Yeah, because we gave all our income. We already gave all our financial income in the future to these people. And then we're like, well, I'm stuck. Well, we got ourselves stuck. We need to get ourselves unstuck. We've got to pay all them back, accept that we made those choices, and then go, what do I actually want to do? Oh, you make that sound too simple, mate. Well, no shit. That's why there's only 21% of people going to work on a Monday engaged in what they're doing. But why are they doing so well? You could ask yourself, and not to trigger you with someone like a billionaire, but why don't they just retire? Why do they need to keep going? Because they're not doing it for the money, because they love what they do. Oh, no, they don't. They're a rich asshole, etc. Bad belief. Why don't you go and talk to someone who's done really well that you do look up to and say, why don't you just stop? Why don't you just retire and learn from them so that you're not so triggered? But again, it's another thing, so you get so beaten up by people doing well that you're stuck, in your own mindset around it, and it frustrates you. You can't even celebrate other people that are doing well and go and have a chat to them. There must be people in your life that have done well that you could go and have a chat to and go, tell me about the struggles you went through. Tell me what it was like to do that. Why were you pushing so hard? What were your reasons? What were the downsides? Why do you keep going? Why don't you just sit on the beach and do nothing and eat grapes and ask them. Ask them. Next one, accountant here, of course, but I wanted to leave this towards the end. You don't know your numbers. You don't even know what your income is going to be for the next 4 weeks. How do you not know? You know how much car's left in your petrol. You've got to know how much petrol you've got coming into the household, how much you're going to use, and then how much is going to be left over. And if you don't like that, well, then you either have to watch how much petrol you're using, or you have to try and increase the amount of petrol you've got. It's very simple. The game of life and finance in that space is very, very simple. So if you don't know your numbers, you've got a piece of work to do there as well. Your expense habits, your expense habits are hobbies. So your hobbies create a lot of costs in your life. You've got to have a think about what they are. It might be pets, it might be surfing, it might be boating, it might be I've got to have the boat. Why do you have to have the boat? Why can't you go on someone's boat who's got a boat? Nah, I'm proud. It's got to be for my ego. Get rid of the boat. Maybe you can't afford it, can't even use it. You can't even afford to repair it. Why do you need the things? Oh, it makes me more of a man. It makes me more of something. Really? Okay. Well, I don't know. It seems pretty impressive to me when someone rocks up and goes, I can pay the bill. But hey, we're all individual in that space. Do we need to own it? Can we, maybe we haven't earned that right to do that yet, especially if we're putting it on finance and things. So have a think about your hobbies, what they cost, and whether you're using debt to do that too. The next one is that you focus on saving and then you don't focus on investing. So you've been taught that term deposits, savings accounts, etc. You save to get ahead, save for a rainy day and whatnot. There's elements of that teaching that are correct, but eventually you're going to have to take risk, and you haven't become comfortable with risk, and so then you don't go and take any risk in terms of investing into yourself, into not needing debt, so you trust yourself that in the future you could make that money to then buy something outright, so you don't need to borrow money to do that. That's a form of trusting in yourself and taking a risk on your future self. You could argue that you're risking your future income by buying shit that you don't actually need as well, but that's tying you up in the wrong direction. So you might want to learn about investing into funds and investing into different things that are going to generate a return, and then on that too, to go further on that, you wait. I'll wait till I earn a bit more, I'll wait till I pay off the cat, I'll wait till I pay off the boat, I'll wait till I've got 10 grand, I'll wait until the market dips, I'll wait until next year, I'll wait. Why do you keep saying wait? How long have you been saying wait for? You know, the successful people that I rock around with, they just get shit done. They're not like, I'll wait till the 1st of January. They started now. Figured it out, I need to do it. Oh, it's October the 27th. I'm doing it from the 28th. A bit different to, I'll wait till the 1st, I'll wait for this, I'll wait for that. Every time you hear someone say wait, you should say, how come? How come you gotta wait? I think we talked about it briefly before, but yeah, you don't care enough about money because your reasons aren't strong enough, because maybe you've got bad beliefs in there, so then you give it away. So you wreck it and you self-sabotage it, which we've done a video on as well. So it shouldn't feel weird, sticky, taboo to have money, to have more than you've ever had before, to talk about it, to find ways to increase it, and it's completely normal, and that shouldn't scare you. But if it does, then there's a piece of work to do. I hope some of those help you. I hope you can tidy some of them up. I know some of them would have seen you and triggered you, but a lot of them I had to figure out. I've been doing my own money learning for 20 years now, and I've gotten through a lot of this stuff, so hence how I know quite a lot about it, and obviously working with a lot of people every week when it comes to money.